Can you imagine waking up to the news that a long-standing conflict has escalated to an invasion? This is exactly what happened on October 9th, 2023, when Hamas invaded Israel. This was not just another day of tension on the Israel-Gaza border. It was an unexpected escalation that sent shockwaves around the world. The timing of this invasion was as unexpected as the invasion itself. The world was still grappling with the aftermath of a volatile summer, and the Middle East was no exception. The historical tension between Hamas and Israel is no secret. Their conflict has raged on for decades, punctuated by uneasy ceasefires and periods of heightened hostility. Yet the full-scale invasion by Hamas in October 2023 was unprecedented. The immediate impact on the ground was profound. The air was thick with uncertainty, and the echoes of war reverberated across the region. This was not just another skirmish in the long history of conflict between Hamas and Israel. It was a significant escalation, one that threatened to plunge the region into a deeper state of turmoil. The historical tension between these two factions is rooted in a complex web of political, religious, and territorial disputes. This invasion was not just a military offensive, it was a symbolic act of defiance by Hamas, a statement of their resolve in the face of adversity. In the face of this unexpected invasion, Israel found itself on the defensive, grappling with a rapidly evolving security situation. As dawn broke on that fateful day, the world watched in apprehension, not knowing what the new day would bring. No conflict exists in isolation. The invasion had immediate global repercussions, particularly affecting oil prices and currency value. As the tension between Hamas and Israel escalated, the world's oil market teetered on the edge of uncertainty. The possibility of a wider conflict involving major oil producers, such as Iran and Saudi Arabia, sent shockwaves through the market. The year 2023 had already been marked by significant volatility in oil prices, with inflation concerns and shifting recession outlooks. Now, with the added element of geopolitical tension, the oil market became a roller coaster ride. At one point, talks of oil prices hitting $100 a barrel were circulating. However, the prices retreated below $90 as the market responded to the unpredictable nature of the conflict. The surge in oil prices was also driven by production cuts from Saudi Arabia and Russia, while concerns about slowing demand and potential demand destruction caused prices to fall. As oil prices rose, so too did the costs of various goods and services, heightening inflation worries. The conflict in the Middle East only intensified these concerns, causing oil prices to jump as fears of disruptions to the global crude supply arose. Meanwhile, the currency market was undergoing its own turbulence. Russia's currency, the ruble, slumped to an 18-month low against the US dollar. The conflict had investors around the world seeking safety in the US dollar, boosting its value. The shekel, Israel's currency, also slid to a 7-year low against the dollar. Throughout 2023, the ruble had been on a downward trend, declining by 38% from its January levels. This was due to Moscow's economic weaknesses and sanctions from the West. Despite denials from President Putin about Russia's economic troubles, Western economists expressed concerns about the country's GDP and the risk of deindustrialization. As the world grappled with the economic consequences, the human toll of the conflict continued to escalate. In the midst of the chaos, there was a glimmer of hope. Qatar pledged $60 million to build a natural gas pipeline from Israel into the Gaza Strip. As the world grappled with the shockwaves of the invasion, a more silent crisis was unfolding in Gaza, a crisis of energy and sustenance. The blockade on Gaza by Israel and Egypt had pushed the region into a dire energy crisis. The power station in Gaza was limited to producing electricity for a mere 12 hours a day, relying on diesel fuel, a resource becoming increasingly scarce. But Qatar stepped forward with a solution, a plan that could potentially alleviate the energy woes of Gaza. The proposal was to build a pipeline to transport natural gas from the Leviathan Field, a rich reservoir in the eastern Mediterranean, right into the heart of Gaza. This project, with a target completion date within the same year, was not just about providing energy, it was about creating a lifeline, a means to survive and perhaps a step towards stability. This initiative was not limited to Qatar alone. The European Union also extended its support, committing to fund the Gaza side of the pipeline. This combined effort represented an international commitment to address the energy crisis in Gaza, a dedication to bring light to a region shrouded in the darkness of conflict. Yet it is crucial to remember that this pipeline is not a panacea. It is a remedy for the energy crisis, but it does not solve the underlying political tensions and conflicts. It does not erase the hardships faced by the people of Gaza, nor does it end the ongoing struggle between Israel and Hamas. While it is a beacon of hope, the pipeline is but a small piece in the complex puzzle of the Israel-Hamas conflict. It is a step, a significant one indeed, but there are many more steps to be taken on the path to peace and stability. As we look to the future, we must acknowledge these complexities and continue to seek solutions that address not just the symptoms, but the root causes of the conflict. In the aftermath of the invasion, one question remains: what comes next? As we navigate through the debris of the unexpected attack on Israel by Hamas, we find ourselves standing on the precipice of a multitude of potential scenarios, each carrying its own set of implications. To begin with, we could witness an escalation of the conflict, with both sides digging in their heels, leading to prolonged tension and volatility. This could further destabilize the region, sending ripples across the global economy. From oil prices to currency values, the impact would be felt far and wide. Alternatively, there's a possibility of international intervention stepping in to mediate the conflict. The United Nations, the European Union, or even individual nations could play peacemaker, urging both parties to lay down their arms and engage in dialogue. A diplomatic resolution could restore some semblance of stability, although the scars of conflict would take time to heal. The world's response has been varied, ranging from calls for peace to outright condemnation of the invasion. While some nations have urged restraint and called for an immediate ceasefire, others have expressed solidarity with the invaded nation. This global outcry could exert pressure on Hamas to halt their offensive and engage in peace talks. The potential for negotiation and resolution, although challenging, is not entirely off the table. History has shown us that even the most bitter of conflicts can find their way to peace, given the right circumstances and commitment from all parties involved. The Israel-Hamas conflict could follow a similar path, with both sides coming to the negotiation table to discuss terms of peace and potential resolutions. However, the road to peace is often fraught with obstacles. Trust must be rebuilt, grievances must be addressed, and a commitment to a peaceful future must be made. It is a daunting task, but not an impossible one. As we stand at this crossroads, it's crucial to remember that the choices made now will shape the course of the Israel-Hamas conflict and its impact on the global stage. The hope is that the path chosen leads to peace and resolution, rather than further conflict and destruction. As the world watches and waits, the future of the Israel-Hamas conflict remains uncertain. The Hamas invasion of Israel on October 9, 2023, sent shockwaves around the world. As we've seen, the unexpected incursion has had far-reaching effects, rippling across the globe. The sudden conflict kicked up a storm of volatility in the oil market. Prices swung wildly, threatening to hit the $100 mark, then retreating below $90. The uncertainty of the situation, compounded by existing inflation concerns and shifting recession outlooks, has left the market on tenterhooks. And it's not just oil. The conflict has caused currencies to tumble too, with the Russian ruble hitting an 18-month low against the US dollar. Amidst this economic upheaval, the energy crisis stands starkly against the backdrop of war. Gaza's electricity woes have been exacerbated by the ongoing blockade, but there's a glimmer of hope. Qatar, in a concerted effort with Israeli, Palestinian, and European stakeholders, has pledged to build a natural gas pipeline from Israel to Gaza. It's a $60 million solution aimed at alleviating the energy crunch in the region, but still the future hangs in the balance. The aftermath of this invasion is shrouded in uncertainty. The world watches on, anxious and unsure of what's to come next. As we continue to observe and analyze, it's clear that the resolution of this conflict will have far-reaching implications, not just for Israel and Hamas, but for the entire world.